to Emotional Support Water Bottle with Hannah and Ailish.
I'm Hannah.
And I'm Ailish. So I went on a little trip to New York, and I just wanted to say about the play that I saw, and because it had some nepos in it and some other bigger names. It was I just didn't know, like, I'm not huge into musicals, so I didn't really want to see like a musical, um, but I wanted to see a show. So this was off Broadway called Ghosts, and it was like a old story, and I wish that I would have read up on it beforehand so I kind of knew what was going on. But it was starring Lily Rabe and then her husband or partner and Billy Crudup, and then Levon Hawke, Ethan Hawke's son, and Ella Beatty, Warren Beatty, and Annette Bening's daughter, which I didn't realize that was her until I looked things up at the end again. But it was literally just the five of them.
Uh-huh.
And I've seen, like, we've both gone to like community productions of stuff, but I've never seen like real professionals performing like that. And well, I guess that's not true. I mean, I've gone to like the Nutcracker and stuff, but like, I don't know, this felt different. And just because we love Lily Rabe, it was so cool to see her like so close, and it just felt so much more personal when you're seeing them act right there in front of you on the stage versus seeing it in like a show or a movie. But I'm not sure if I really loved the story of the play.
Oh.
It was kind of odd, but I thought that Ethan Hawke's son did a really good job. Like, he was very committed to the role, and like, he just was very believable, and his role and Lily Rabe's role were very emotional, and the end was like, their emotion really like took me off guard.
Wasn't he just in Blink Twice?
Yes, which I didn't see that, but when I was looking up what he's done so far, that one did pop up.
Okay.
But I don't know if he had like a big role. There's a lot of supporting people in that movie, though.
Yeah, he was more of a supporting thing.
And he's been in some smaller things. Like, there was a movie that Ethan Hawke, I think he wrote, and he was in that. I can't remember what that was called when I looked it up. And I think he's done a couple other plays, but it seems like he's kind of maybe trying to go in a different direction than Maya, his sister, is. But then again, it's like, I don't know, did Maya just get lucky with Stranger Things and something like that just hasn't popped up for him?
Mm-hmm.
But
or maybe he's like a little younger.
Yeah, I think he is a couple years younger than her.
And I don't think she's all that old.
No,
Maybe I'm wrong.
no, I'm pretty sure that she's only like mid 20s ish.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, it was just cool. Like, the theater was pretty small, and it was just really neat. Like, I literally was like so close to them, and you could fully see their faces, and it was really, it was kind of powerful to see acting like that. And Billy Crudup, he was good too, but it almost feels like, because I don't watch like a ton of his stuff, but like seeing Almost Famous and more recently The Morning Show, like, he kind of, his role in The Morning Show is like a little a little erratic or like high
Mhm.
energy, and this role was pretty similar to that. So I don't know if that's like just naturally the way that he is, or if that just so happens to be characters that he's playing. But yeah, it was interesting. I would probably see like more. I Not that I have the opportunity to see a bunch of plays, but it was cool to just see that. And Lily Rape's hair was just so beautiful. Like it was so pretty, and she's just so like slender and serious about her work. I'm like, oh, I wished so bad that they would have been like in the lobby at the end, like they are in like community theaters.
They
But
should be.
I know, but unfortunately they weren't. And then the lady that sat next to me, she was with like, I don't know, a friend or daughter or something. And I heard her say something about Martin Scorsese, like as if he was in the freaking building. And I'm like literally looking around like a freaking psycho trying to like see all the gray haired men. That man was not there. So I don't know if she was joking or what was going on, but
Yeah, maybe it was a sarcastic joke or something.
there did happen to be a lot of gray-haired men with glasses there, so maybe.
It must have been that then.
I know. It is crazy though, because I don't know if we've said this before, but like how many times could you literally walk by somebody who's famous in a city where like you're not even paying attention because you're so
Right.
like, this is where I have to go, or you're just worried about a million other things and you wouldn't even notice them. Like that's why they can go incognito kind of, but like hidden in plain sight more.
Yeah, because even some people, it's like you're like, I feel like I kind of know them just in general, but then you don't recognize them until you see them with the people you know them from.
Right.
And you're like, oh, that is that person.
Or just
It's
when
almost
you're
like if a celebrity's just like, oh, I'm on the red carpet. It's like, oh, I know that's actually them.
right, yeah. And when you're not expecting to see them, it's so out of context. So like,
Right.
yeah, we're so used to seeing them all dressed up or whatever, and then seeing them in jeans and a t-shirt on the street like doesn't make sense in our heads.
I wonder how much they get paid to do those like smaller plays.
I know, and I don't know, like I'm sure some of the things that they do, it's like, oh, it's a favor to, so and so, like we've worked together for so long or whatever, but like, I mean, in my mind, like Lily is a pretty big get, but like,
Right.
I don't know if everybody feels that same way about her. And then obviously the little Nepos, it's like they wouldn't be that expensive because they haven't done very much. But
Right.
I didn't think that Warren Beatty's daughter was like, she was probably the least convincing character for me. Like I
Yeah.
just didn't, and I mean this is like the only thing I've ever seen her in. But she was the only one where I was kind of like, and maybe it was just her character too, like I don't know, but she was just not as believable as the other ones. But I think she's pretty young too, so she could just be getting started.
Hmm.
So anyway, that was pretty much the only thing I wanted to say about that. And I didn't really I think the only other thing, oh, the other like major news thing was that Sydney Sweeney has officially broken up with her fiance, and she attended a Glenn Powell's sister's wedding pretty much immediately.
It's just like the movie.
I know.
Literally, just like the movie.
I know. Like I don't know. They, after all this, they should just date.
I know. Just play it up for the cameras all over again
And you might as well just give it a shot. I mean,
at this point.
yeah, I feel like they already did on the set, but that,
Hmm.
unconfirmed, but it certainly seemed a little suspicious, their behavior.
I mean, his girlfriend did break up with them, so
Mhm. I mean, yeah. And then we're hearing I mean, I haven't like read a ton into it, but like there were full on pictures of her like smiling with the sister, and something I saw, just a headline, made it seem like she was a part of the wedding in
yeah, I
a
was confused about that. It almost seemed like she was like a bridesmaid or something, but then they were like, oh no, she's just an old friend. We hadn't seen her in a long time. So I'm like, well, she wasn't doing any bachelorette party stuff, so
yeah,
she must have just been a guest, but that was confusing.
just Glenn's plus one.
Oh,
I wonder how long she and her fiance have actually been broken up though, because
I know, because it was like it started out with the wedding's postponed,
mhm,
and now a couple months later,
they're done.
yeah.
It just seemed, and there's just been so much stuff swirling around. And like, I think we said this on the pod before, and if it wasn't on the pod, we said it to each other, like, how much can one man take? Like, every single one of her male co stars, she's been all over the media with, like, being very flirty to promote the films. It's like, I don't care if you're secure in your relationship, that's got to get to you a little bit.
Just a little.
But yeah, and then Justin Bieber, I've been seeing he's been posting all this stuff about like Skylark, like a new brand or something that he's coming out with.
Yeah, I like scrolled through it. I'm like, okay, this is cute. I don't know.
But it almost looks like it's like, what is it? Like, we don't even know. He's posted
Like
this logo
sunglasses
and
and
everything.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very odd. And then Haley's there liking every single thing, and I think she's even reposted.
Overcompensating.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think that was the only major stuff that I kind of saw. What about you this week?
No, but did you see or did you watch Ariana Grande's short film?
I did.
Um, I guess maybe I'm just not in the lore as much because I didn't really quite. I thought like the last 10 minutes I thought were kind of cool because I think it was like less than 30 minutes.
Yeah, it was like 25 or something.
Okay. Yeah, that was okay, but I guess I just didn't really understand. But I did think she was so cute as an old lady, like her little mannerisms were
And her
so cute.
nails.
Yes, I was like, gosh. But and I felt like, well, first of all, I was like, there's no way she's gonna let herself look old when she's old. But then I could also see that literally being what she looks like with
I
her hair
know.
like that.
And she
But
looks
yeah, I
cute.
just don't know about the lore of it all, I guess.
Yeah, I pretty much thought the exact same thing because I watched it all. I didn't like look anything up about it beforehand. And then
Mhm.
when it was over, I'm looking in the comments, of course, and everybody, they're just like,
Love
what's
it.
her fan base called? Do you know?
Arianators or something?
Oh, that doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I know, maybe that's wrong. I thought it was something like that.
Um,
Arianators.
well, whatever her fans are called, they were
We're
all,
eating it up.
oh my God, yeah. And I couldn't even, like, nothing was even really saying, like, oh,
Oh,
let's
this
break
means
this
that.
down. Yeah. Like, there were a couple things where it was like, era one is this song and it's about this, era two. Like, but okay, that's just a timeline. And then it
Right.
did tell me the stuff like the last kind of bit that you were talking about where her dad was actually
Hmm.
playing in there, which is cute, but didn't I don't know very much about Ariana Grande. Like I didn't know that she had a difficult relationship with her dad at one point and then now they're better. Like I had no idea.
Yeah, I knew that, but then I was confused about how that played into that part of the short film, just because it was like, oh, he revived her. But I guess I don't even know. I'd have to like make some stuff up, like maybe her relationship with men changed after she started
Yeah,
talking to her dad again. I literally have no idea.
I don't know either. I mean, they were trying to say that after her divorce that he like helped her pick up the pieces and then that it was actually music that saved her because she didn't come alive until he played that little music box and I'm just like I guess I thought that the whole thing looked good, like
Yeah,
visually, like it
it
was
was really
that's
cool.
fun. Yeah, but for me, and I guess this is just kind of poking holes, but it just felt like okay, this is Peaches coming in kind of at the end of her life to review these four core memories. And to me, they like weren't even really memories. Like the
Yeah, or they weren't like clear. I just didn't find them to be very clear.
no, and I think it would have been cooler if we almost like took the music like out of it a little bit or maybe
Hmm.
didn't force like the songs to be fully a part of it because I think if we're going off of like the memory thing like that idea to me is so interesting and
Hmm.
just there's a lot you can do with it but it was kind of like especially the last one with her dad like that fully was not a memory that was like a weird old
Made
timey
up.
story
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that didn't make sense unless we're supposed to be taking this character at whatever 80 years old, and then that would have been her back in that day, but that
Yeah,
was unclear.
I think it could have been like I guess I thought especially since um with like we can't be friends like we heard there was so much lore like is this about Mac Miller you know all these things I thought that the memories would have been a little bit more geared towards that and then geared towards her divorce and stuff like that where it was like really a healing um experience and I guess maybe it still was for her but like it just wasn't the visual interpretation of healing that I was expecting.
Yeah. I what did you think of the new songs? Because I mean, I didn't really listen to them a ton. I think I just went through it twice on the new ones. And I feel like with Ariana Grande, just in general, the way her enunciating is not
Mm-hmm.
always there when she's singing, which is fine. Like, she obviously has a beautiful voice, but I wasn't hearing the lyrics in the way that I wanted to.
I would agree especially there was uh like what's that song the was it the no it was the one that was playing about her divorce I don't even know when she was like in the house and I can't remember what song that one was.
Was it the Twilight
It
Zone,
might have
or
been that
was it
one.
the Hamps?
Hampstead was with the dad at the end.
Ah, okay, maybe it was Twilight Zone then. Or wait,
I
didn't she have some of the other, like the
I think there were
like
like
one or
two that were mixed together during the
yeah.
divorce one. Um but it was one of them was definitely one that was on the extended version. And I was just like, I did not hear these lyrics when I was listening to the album.
Yeah.
And I don't know if something was changed or if it was just that because I was watching it and paying more attention that I heard it better. I don't know, but I actually, in terms of just like enjoying the music, I actually liked the songs and the flow of the songs on the extended version better than I liked the rest of the album, because for me, like, there was still, because then I listened to the extra songs, then I went back and listened to the whole thing, and just like the Boy Is Mine, Thank You Net, or not, wait, no, Thank You Next wasn't on this one, right? It was the one about, oh my god, what was that one about, like, her body?
Oh shoot.
I'm looking it up. Why? It's like so dumb that I can't think of what that song is. That was about her.
Yes, and
Yes, and like that one, and then like those were pretty much the two where I'm like, okay, I did it. And like Bye, I didn't love those. I
yeah.
feel like they had a completely different vibe than the other songs.
Mm-hmm.
And so I liked that the ones on the extended all had the same like ethereal kind of sound.
Yeah, and I feel like she used her voice a little bit more in some of them.
Mhm.
But yeah, I thought they were fine. I was not expecting her to just do a deluxe album when we started hearing about it. I thought we were going to get a whole new album, and it just is interesting that these, like, I feel like every pop album that's come out lately is then does a deluxe version. It's like, why didn't you just put those songs on the original other than just sell another album? And this one was even more interesting because they did it a year apart.
I know. Well, and it was because I just pulled it up. It was like if we count that intro, it was one, two, three, four, five, six songs. Like just make that something on its own then. Like a little, like it's not a full album. I don't know what distinguishes an EP
I
versus
know.
an album, but just do it
Or like write
separate.
three more songs and then you'll have
Yeah,
a 9 songs album.
right. I mean, I just don't, I mean, and I, not to like dog on any other artists or whatever, but I think we're seeing that like more and more where they just want to keep that same album in the charts. It's like I don't
Yeah.
understand it. Like,
Yeah, or like even because with this album, it kind of got a bit, in some people's opinions, snubbed at the Grammys. So it's almost like if
mhm,
we put it out again,
yeah,
but it's different, can we then get nominated for it? Can it be reappreciated it? Because, everybody's going to be re-listening to this album because that came out.
exactly.
So it's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, it is. And I don't understand. I guess I just don't get like what difference does it make? Like with the Grammy thing, what who cares if it's a completely different album? Like if you would have
Right.
just, even if you called it like Eternal Sunshine 2,
Yeah.
like wouldn't that still qualify for Grammy contention? Like I don't,
Right.
but whatever. Um I mean, I liked it. I thought they were cute. I don't think it's going to be an album still that I like just go to and listen to, but it is easy listening, as they say.
Yeah, it is nice to listen to, and her voice is just so pretty and
Hmm.
fabulous to listen to. It was interesting too to see in the short film her ponytail and the winged eyeliner. I'm like, oh my gosh, she does just look like we're just not used to seeing her with the wings.
I know.
I know.
She looked more like herself.
The way we have always seen her.
I
for
know.
so long until she started playing Glinda. I also thought in some of that she did look a little bit healthier, but I don't know if she just looked beautiful because of how her makeup was and the lighting and
Yeah, the
everything.
lighting was kind of darker.
And I
And who knows
was
when that was filmed?
right.
Just thinking of her singing voice, the song or the version of the song that was at the end of the
Yeah,
what I don't even remember which one was that. We
we
can't be
can't be
friends.
friends. Yeah.
Like her voice there sounded so amazing.
I
And
know she said, and you could understand her.
yes,
Yeah. And I thought she said she was doing an acoustic version or an a cappella version of the album, unless I
we'll
misunderstood
go
that.
through and do it and put it out again and just call it
Maybe
acoustic,
I
you know?
misunderstood that, but I thought there was something like that. And then when this played, I was like, oh,
No, I really liked it, and I mean, we've been seeing it with like Sabrina Carpenter and like Tate McRae and a lot of these other pop ladies recently where they're just doing that really like breathy whisper. And I just, like, I don't believe that that's what you're going to sound like in a concert, you know? And like
right.
what Ariana sounded like at the end with this version of We Can't Be Friends, I'm like, this sounds amazing. This sounds
Yes.
real. Like if I went to your show, that is what I would hear, I think.
Yeah, I know.
So I would just rather hear that.
I know. Put that a cappella version out. I'd love to hear it.
Well, and since we just read JoJo's book, and since neither of us are trained vocalists, I don't know what is good or bad for your voice. But I would think that doing that kind of like breathy would be a little strenuous on the vocals. Because it's not just like they're whispering like you would talk and whisper.
Hmm.
But I
Yeah, I
don't.
don't know.
If anybody's listening that is a vocal coach, please weigh in.
I know. What do you think of this new album? Yeah, but yeah, that definitely is like the trend of that's like the pop music playbook.
Yeah, totally. It's which is weird because we're moving away from the vocal powerhouse a little bit. And then when you realize that these ladies can also do that,
Actually,
you're
you're
like,
like, hold
whoa.
on. I know, but that's not what plays on the radio.
Nope, it's not. It's not.
Speaking of vocal, I watched, or like vocal voices, I watched Mufasa.
Oh, you did?
I did. When I got on Disney Plus, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna give it a try. I actually liked it more than I thought I was going to.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought it was way better than the 2019 basically redo of the
Like,
original Lion King.
yeah.
And I think one of my problems with that movie was is I just felt like the voice acting, it just didn't feel like they were talking to each other at all, like the way the characters were interacting. And I thought this time there was still a little bit of that, but it was a lot better.
But this didn't do well, right? Like maybe it did fine on streaming, but they did have a theatrical release.
They did. I'm not sure how well it did. But I could see why nobody would want to go see it after the horrible other version, especially with like having that animation that looks so real, so cool, and then to have all those silly moments in there
Yeah.
was just so awkward. But this time I felt like they kept like it was a little more intense. Like I felt like lions were actually like even though it wasn't super violent, it was still a lot more action packed
Interesting.
than the other one, which I wish they would have did with the original one. And I know you want kids to watch it, but I think we talked about this before. But like it would have been cool to make it PG-13 and have some real like intense
Animal
fighting.
action.
Yeah, it's like, why not? But it was still weird to see like these lions looking like perfect or all these animals looking perfect, and then to see them just kind of like talk. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how else you could do that other than just
Not
making the
relate it.
voices. Yeah, or like yeah, literally. It just is so strange. I don't know. Like it would like I would go in and out of being like, oh, this is really good, and then it kind of like back up a minute. I'm like, I don't know. But it had a lot less silly parts in there,
Mm-hmm.
which I think helped. But this one fell more in line with um Simba's Pride, the second one.
Oh.
Like it was so the story is Rafiki's telling Kiara, played by Blue Ivy Carter, which whatever.
Another Nepo.
So maybe the story of Mufasa while her parents are away. So that's
Okay.
why we're getting, and then Timon and Pumbaa are there, and that was just kind of like I don't know. Like I was fine with that story being told. But then it was like she didn't apply that story to any life lessons. She was just listening to the story. It's just kind of silly.
So it
And
was basically just like a a second hand account of
yes, of Mufasa, which they could have literally just did. Like, I don't know, we could have just literally started from when he was a cub
yeah.
until we got to like that point. And then it's like it kept explaining things like how Pride Rock got its shape. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, I would have totally just believed that there was a rock out in
Yeah.
nature that made that shape. Like, why? I can't even remember what it was. It was like some storm or something like knocks it all into place. I was like, oh gosh. And then how
Yeah.
Scar got his scar, which was just so anticlimactic.
But some things like that, like you don't like just let the audience take it for what it is. Like I'm
Yeah,
gonna assume that Scar got that scar because he's evil and he got into
got
some horrible
scratched.
fights. Yeah.
Right. It's like, why did it have to? They kind of almost made Scar like his like final straw of Mufasa
Did they
because
try to make him a sympathetic character?
they did, but when okay, so basically Mufasa gets separated from his parents and then he's taken in by Scar, who's Tafa, and gets taken in by that family. And then Scar's dad doesn't want anything to do with him, that he's a stray. But Tafa, Scar, wants him to still be his brother and considers him his brother. But then Mufasa's better in every single way, basically. So then, like, the final straw is that Mufasa gets the girl. And I'm like, why are you making him like a simp? Like it's or like an incel. Like it's so embarrassing. Like that's literally so embarrassing for him.
And
But
unnecessary. They're animals.
no, literally. It's so silly. And like there was stuff leading up to that. And if they would have just left that part out, and I get it was just one more thing that Mufasa got, but it was just so embarrassing for him.
But like that is just another thing. We don't really need that information. Like from
No.
the original Lion King, we know that Mufasa and Scar are brothers, and that Mufasa was clearly the better, you know,
Right.
lion, king lion, and that's why he is the one. The I don't.
The
What do they call
outcast.
that? The
He's like
big
the outcast
lion.
brother, you know.
Yeah, and then Scar, like he's smaller, he's a different coloring, like he clearly is the quote unquote bad egg that like wasn't going to lead in the way that all the
Right.
animals needed to be led. Like I didn't need a story. I can already piece that together.
I know, and like it was. I mean, like there were still like good parts in it. Like I kind of liked that theme of like we're family, even though we're not really related. And there was, I mean, I was like, that's cool, and like always standing strong. It had the good messages. But overall, I did think it worked better though, being even though it's like a prequel, an original story.
Hmm.
And I think, it wasn't trying to right any wrongs like some of these.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it's okay to make a whole new story even if it's a prequel, but I felt like that made it so much more enjoyable. I wasn't comparing anything. We don't get a ton of Mufasa in the original Lion King anyway, so it was kind of cool to like see a backstory, but it's like I didn't really have anything to go off of other than he's, a really good leader, but
Hmm.
and the last thing I want to say about that though is I didn't really like the music.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was one where there's like this whole thing with these evil lions, and he's like singing about like killing these lions, or the good lions, I guess you could say.
Wait, who is
And
Mufasa or Scar?
um so there's this whole other outsiders lions. They're like these
Oh.
white albino lions. They're the like evil people. And they're singing about killing the good lions, which should be like
Oh,
Mufasa and Tafa's family.
okay.
Because Mufasa accidentally kills this white lions. Now, now I'm starting to think it's like a commentary, like the evil
I know, the
white
more we're talking,
white lions.
do we need to redact?
You. There's this part where they're like, he's singing and he's like, bye bye, bye bye. I'm like, I don't know. It was different. And then there was like a brother song that was okay, but I don't even remember the other songs. Like, I almost think it just didn't even need songs. It could have just had the pretty African music in the background.
Well, but like you said, with the original Lion King, I felt like the talking animals, this whole story, the music, it all makes sense because these are full on cartoons. Like
Yes,
it's
with
in
pretty colors.
yes, and I'm like, oh, these are cartoon animals. Like anything can
Yes,
happen with a cartoon animal. But
yes.
then when they do this like hyper realistic animation, it does totally take you out of it. Like,
It
why are
does.
these animals singing? Like that's
I know, and it's like I know because I'm like I couldn't figure out how else other than not doing it at all. I just couldn't figure out how you could do this because the only thing I could think of was like the live action 101 Dalmatians where the animals just didn't talk at all.
mm-hmm,
And it was just like the people talked, but we still had a very similar story. But
mm-hmm.
I guess I don't know how that would have worked with this, but it just seemed like, I don't know, it's so beautiful, but it just really is so strange. Like, I just don't know if it works.
That live action 101 Dalmatians is an amazing
It's
film.
so,
I will call it a
so
film.
good.
I know.
Such a good movie. Glenn Close being the
I
freaking
know.
Cruella is
So
just
good.
amazing.
So
And
good.
see, that's another one that it's like they took from the source material, did a very similar story, but gave the people more lines. So it's like they
Mhm.
changed it up a little bit, I feel like in the best way.
I know, I agree. And so many times when which I know Mufasa isn't a remake, but it's like a
Right.
spin-off, basically. When they do those types of things or remakes or just do a live action, it's like it doesn't work just doing the exact same script, and then the things
No.
that they try to change, like you said before, it's like, well, let's right the wrongs because now that it's 2020 whatever, this isn't gonna fly. It's like, well, then just
Yeah.
do a completely different story.
Yes, I don't know why they're so against that other than the very obvious what will make us money. And
Yeah,
it's
they want
like,
the intellectual property. Yeah.
yeah, it's like, no, do something else. I'm gonna respect it more and probably watch it more
Mhm.
than I would. It's just so silly. But anyway, overall, I did enjoy it. I just don't see myself going back to it.
Yeah.
And like with the original, like even if my son doesn't really love live action stuff anyway, but even if he was going to ask about the Lion King, I'm like, well, let's watch the original one because even that animation is so beautiful for
I
just being
know.
2D. It's like,
Well,
I
and
don't know.
it's, I mean, call me old fashioned, but I think that those types of animations are kind of more appealing to children, you
Yeah, with
know?
like right, it's like Simba is such a warm yellow and his mane
Yes.
is like that reddish brown. It's just so beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Did your sons watch Mufasa?
my oldest one did, my other one was taking a nap, and he was into it most way, but then at towards the end he started
He was over
wanting
it.
me to change it. I'm like, "No, we have to watch it." Like I did, like I will say I did get emotional in some of the parts just because of the story, but
Mhm.
and because the baby lions were so cute. But
Um,
yeah, he wasn't. I mean, if I just don't think he'll ever ask to watch that movie
yeah. Yeah.
again.
Well,
But
I think of like, because, your son has, well, both of your sons have loved all versions of Spidey for quite some
yeah,
time.
that's true.
And just look at, like, literally, you can put on the freaking Spider-Man stuff, cartoons from like the 90s, and
Hmm.
he loves it. Like, both of them love it. And I don't, that is so basic animation,
Yes.
but he will ask for it.
Yes.
And it just feels like with the newer stuff that's like so realistic, it doesn't really have that draw for the kids. It's like, did you make this for the adults? Because so we would
I
be
know.
impressed by it.
Well, even if I think about the like Little Mermaid, the way her hair would move underwater, I mean,
Mm,
when you're in the pool, you're like, my hair's moving like that. And
yes.
I feel like like if you watch, I mean, I guess like Finding Nemo, like aquatic creatures look really cool underwater, but then when you have the people, it's just like a blob of hair.
Yeah.
And it's just like they literally just can't get people the way like the Disney movies that we grew up on or that animation. Like, I mean, it's just so beautiful and the way they brush their hair, and it's just
Mhm.
mesmerizing
I know. I
for
know.
just being 2D animation.
Yeah, because even in like the Polar Express, that
Hmm.
animation for the time was so realistic, and now we've gone even further. But even like those kids, like you said with the hair, it's like it just doesn't have that same feeling, which is so weird because it's so much more advanced.
Yes. I know. It's like that 2D animation just really gets that detail work.
I
Like even
know.
Beauty and the Beast when he's like floating up and
Oh yeah,
transforming.
when he's like
Yes.
moving.
Yes. And the way the hair flows in the
Yes.
face. I mean, it's just the way rain is. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
Mulan when she's in the rain and her
Oh
hair's
my
wet.
god.
I just like
When
beauty, like
Mulan cuts her
captivating.
hair.
Yeah, and it like and the
Yep.
way it like slices and the little
Mhm.
shards. I mean, it's just so beautiful and
I know.
mesmerizing, and that's why even now watching those, I'm like, this is so
You're
good.
so drawn in. I know. Bring it back. Bring it
I
back.
know, enough of this 3D crap.
This is what we want.
We don't want your AI.
Well, that's
Uh,
interesting. And that's
yeah,
disappointing about the music too, because
I know. I think that was probably my biggest disappointment was the music, but I was more captivated with the story that I didn't mind that there was bad music, I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just
yeah.
wasn't like, oh, that's a good song. I'm gonna play it in the car. Like I'm not gonna play any of those songs in the car.
No, yeah, no.
Anywho.
Disappointing. Did you watch anything else other than the movies that we
What time?
planned?
I did. Well, I had a quite the delightful surprise. I'll try not to touch on everything. My mom, because I use her Prime, I was looking at something. I was like, why are all these like movies that say Max at the bottom? Well, my mom got Max.
What?
So I freaking was like, hold on. I like went to touch it and it's like play. I'm like, I can play it. And so I did, and then I was like, "Oh, maybe she did like a free trial thing."
Yeah.
But no, she got
A whole new
got it
world
to
has opened
watch.
up.
I know, right? She got it to watch the Logan and Jake Paul reality show. Anyway, so I got to watch.
We'll just leave that there.
Let's let that marinate for a minute. I got to watch Sleepaway Camp finally, the classic with the face at the end. That was so good. I freaking loved it. It was so 80s cheesy. Oh my
Mhm.
gosh, I was obsessed with that. I don't really have a lot to say other than it was amazing. I did get to watch Heretic
Oh, what did you
with
think?
you. I liked it. I think that is definitely because it talks a lot about like like religious themes when those two
Mhm.
girls come in. They're Mormons. So he like kind of traps them a little bit and is asking them all these religious questions. And so I think that would be a really fun movie to like watch with somebody and then talk about it because I wasn't really sure what direction that movie was going to go, but
Mhm.
it was really interesting. It was just like a really cool commentary and it's not cuz I mean, maybe I don't know. I guess I didn't really look a ton of it up because I wanted to see that movie, but it does not go the way that I think it's gonna go, which is pretty cool.
Well, I'm very confident in ourselves because that was one of the movies that we said we wanted to go watch, and we never
Well, it's like
did.
it didn't really like I feel like it came out in theaters and then but like we didn't even really like we I remember we watched the were we
Preview.
at Maxine
I
maybe?
think we were
Yeah.
at
Was
Maxine,
we were at
yeah.
the theater and that and we're like, "Oh, I want to see that." And then it was like never
It
saw it
was a little blip, I
anywhere.
know.
But yeah, that would be that was a fun one, especially if you have like background and like related, because obviously we've talked about how we've gone to a Catholic school our whole life and just different stuff like that. But even then, the movie still goes in a cool way. And Hugh Grant is just like so diabolical. he, he
Well,
was
have we ever
fun.
seen him in that type of movie before? I don't think so.
I haven't, no. I feel like there was something weird that he did though, but I don't think I ever saw it. But yeah, I mean, he was just good and he looked good on camera, even though he's like gotten a little older.
Yeah.
Oh, and then the girl in it, I don't know if you knew this because I didn't know that, was the girl from Companion. That Sophie
Oh, no,
Thatcher was in it.
I didn't
I,
realize that.
and me either, I didn't know that's who that was because again, I didn't really look anything up about it because I wanted to see it, but
Mhm.
I love the sound of her voice. Her voice, because she does a lot of talking,
Mhm.
and her voice is just absolutely captivating. Like,
Oh,
I just loved the way her voice sounds. But anyway, I don't want to give anything away because if you do get to see that, that'll be a
yeah.
fun one.
Well,
Talk
before you go
about.
on, 1 second. What do you feel like? I just have such a hard time because I want to get Max so bad, but I have so many streaming services.
I know. Okay, what do you have now? I will say that Max, stand by, had some pretty good stuff on it, but also I don't know if I fully feel like Like, I was really intrigued by what was on there when I was scrolling around, but I
Yeah,
think once I get through those few movies, I don't know if I mean, obviously they'll put new stuff on there,
right.
but I don't know. It
But
seems
then
like
you
they
also
have
look
like,
at the shows, you know?
yeah, like the White Lotus is on this, right? Oh yeah, there it
Yeah,
is. The yeah,
past
it does in like The Last of
look
Us,
good. Yeah.
Euphoria. I see. I don't know. I mean, I can definitely let you through look through it and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, I know that you can get, I've never looked into how much the um who max add-on is for Hulu, but it's just
I
like,
think for Prime, my mom said it was $10.
yeah, that's what it is. Max with ads, $10 a month.
Yeah, that's what
No
she did.
ads, 17 a month. It's just like, can I freaking justify this? Like, it's just getting absurd. And then
I
it's
know where now all of a sudden it's $200 for all your streaming services and then cable, and obviously you don't get what you get
literally,
on cable, but it's like,
but it's like, okay, I have Hulu, I have Disney Plus because they're bundled, and then I have Peacock, which is like $5, so that's like nothing really. I have Netflix, I have Apple TV, like that's freaking ridiculous. But the thing is that I, especially now that we're watching so many more movies, it's like I do find myself going to all of them. And
yeah,
when,
seeing what they got.
yeah, and especially when like the award season was happening and we had
I
so
know.
many movies, like some were on Peacock, some were on Hulu, it's like, okay, wow, like I legitimately do need to have these if I want to keep up.
It's a scam.
I know. I know. So I don't know.
I know. I guess my answers, I'm not sure. I was intrigued by what was on there, but it was just because it was new and shiny, and
Yeah. Well,
I didn't know
and
I could do it.
I mean, and back in the day, when I was in college and I watched Game of Thrones and stuff, I would have to go to those shady websites to get
Right.
the like the legal streams. And of course, like, yeah, I could still do that, but like I don't watch anything on my computer anymore. Like I watch it straight to my television, and I know I could like cast it, but it's just how many steps am I going to go through? And then when you get that shoddy stream and then it cuts
Right.
out and you've got to, it's just like,
It's not
is
worth
it
it.
worth it?
Right.
So I don't know. I mean, I'm going to have to think about it. But every time I think about getting rid of Apple TV, it's like something else gets teased or dropped, or they bring out a new season of whatever, and it keeps me sucked in.
I know. It's just so true.
I know. It's absolutely ridiculous. They need to just bundle everything together, or
I know.
create one service where everything is, so that we can just stop this madness.
I know, and then it gets weird too because you used to like freak out. You're like, "Oh no, this is leaving whatever
Yeah.
Netflix." And then you're like, "Wait, it's just coming on a different thing."
Because literally with one of the movies we're going to talk about today, you're like, it's leaving Netflix on, the 31st, and guess what? It's on Hulu now.
So you're like, Duh. I know, literally. It's like there's been some other movies where I'm like, gosh dang it, I didn't get to oh, here it is on my other. So they're just flip-flopping around. So
Mhm.
why can't we just all have each other's thing?
The that needs to happen is that our podcast needs to be fast tracked, so we can just, first of all, we need access to that Criterion collection so we can get any movie we want. Second of all, we need to get the early streamers for the upcoming movie.
For
I
crying
love
out loud.
I know at this point, we need to freaking see if we can get like a DVD player or something to watch all these older films because there's so many movies that like I would love to revisit or see because they're classics and I haven't seen them and they're not on a streaming service or they're on Paramount Plus, which I don't know
Right.
anybody that has Paramount Plus.
I know. It's crazy.
I know. Anyway, what else did you watch from Max?
The last movie I wanted to talk about, which I had been dying to see, and I almost paid for on Prime because I could buy it on Prime. And what is that even, too? It's like, oh yeah, you can get this, but you have to pay for it. It's like,
Right.
but
No.
anyway, it was on Max. I saw the TV Glow.
Oh, what's that one?
So this movie, it's supposed to be a horror movie. It is about these two teenagers. Well, they end up meeting when the one is, I believe, in the seventh grade, and then the other one is who's Owen, and then the other one is Maddie, and she is in the ninth grade.
Oh, it's a
And
newer movie.
it is, and they bond over this old TV show, and it takes place in the 90s, and it's called The Pink Opaque. But the whole movie, oh my gosh, it's just so good, is like a metaphor for being trans. But
Oh,
it's so cool. I did not know because I was trying to not to look stuff up about it. And I watched it in the dark just by chance, and this was an absolute sensory journey of my entire life. The
really?
way it was all like black light with the glowing stuff was just so cool. Like I was totally transfixed on this. It was so cool. Like there's this part where the show is like a girlier show and he's not allowed to watch it and he's not allowed to stay up past his bedtime and they watch so he sneaks over to her house to watch this movie or the show. And she ends up also taping it like on a tape and she'll give it to him and she like draws on him and there's this point where he's like walking and we see those drawings like on the screen in that
Mm,
glowy pink, like it just had a ton of stuff like that in there.
mhm.
But it was just so freaking good and it was so hard. The ending reminded me of Anora's ending where it was just so heartbreaking. So this Maddie ends up telling him, she's like, I'm, oh, well, sorry, there's just so many layers. I just felt like this movie just had so much love behind it,
Yeah.
and there was so much detail in it. I mean, it was just crazy, all the detail. Like, I have to rewatch it. Like, I literally want to just to see all the stuff. But
I know I'm looking up who's in it.
yeah, that Justice Smith is in it, who was in All the Bright Places. Did you see that with Elle Fanning?
No, I didn't.
That was a really sad one. Don't watch.
Phoebe Bridges is in it? Or Bridgers, I mean?
She had a cameo in it.
Oh, she wasn't like a main.
No, that was probably the only like different scene that I didn't think was that necessary because they end up going to this like bar when
Fred
they're
Durst?
older. What? Yeah.
Oh,
He plays his
question
dad.
mark?
He plays the dad. And you would not even recognize him in this movie. It was
Wow.
wild, but it was like so cool because it's like the most in the nicest way possible, like that 90s not nice guy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And then he's playing the dad of this like trans child or this
Does he
trans
know?
child that is pretending what?
Does he know that the child is
No,
identifying
but
that way?
nobody makes comments. Like there's this one sad part where he's like in the car, he's like, I want to watch the Pink Opaque, and then he's like, isn't that a show for girls? Like
Mm.
just stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
There's just so much in this movie, I don't even know how to start. But the way it portrays like disassociation, like Justice Smith, and so did that girl that plays Maddie, or the person who, I don't want to misgender that person.
The
The
actress
person that played,
Nathan.
yeah, does an amazing job too. But Justice Smith, the way he had to change his voice, because there's also like a metaphor from the show where the character that he sees as himself is like trapped underground and can't breathe. And it's like the longer the movie goes on, the more his voices
Oh my
changes.
gosh.
It's so cool. And then, so basically, the Maddie character ends up leaving and is able to become who they truly are. But then Justice Smith's character doesn't and just has like this whole life where he's not truly himself, or they're not
Hmm.
truly themselves. It's just cool. But it's not, I mean, the concept of having this whole life where you don't really become who you really are is scary, but
Yeah.
it's not a scary movie, but it is unsettling. Like the show The Pink Opaque is very unsettling, and there's this villain on it called Mr. Melancholy. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a really creepy, unsettling character. And
It says it's labeled as a horror drama.
yeah, I would say that's accurate. I mean, I think some people would maybe think it was creepy,
Okay.
but it's not scary. But yeah, it's definitely unsettling. And then the end is just so sad. It was so
It
good.
sounds like there's a lot of layers to it. Like
There
it's,
was, like, I don't even know how to get into all of it.
yeah,
It was just, without you also watching it,
right.
it's just so good. But I could also see where maybe some people wouldn't enjoy the movie that much, but I just thought it was
Well, I
a
was
beautiful
just gonna
piece
say
of
because
art.
I just Googled it and like Rotten Tomatoes, which I don't always go off of these rankings or whatever,
I
but
know, it's hard to.
Rotten Tomatoes is an 84%, which is like good. IMDb is a 5.8 out of 10, and Letterboxd is a 3.5 out of 5.
Which is relatively high for Letterbox.
So, but that kind of is like all over the place.
Yeah, I could definitely see where this would be more of a divisive
Mhm.
movie. I think for me, I loved it, but
But
I could definitely see like somebody else watching it and not really feeling the feelings. And I think even if you're not experiencing the trans experience, which I think maybe some too many people go into it just looking at it only as that, but I
Mhm.
think, like if you're living a life that you don't feel like you're living fully as the person you could actually be, and just feeling
Yeah.
like associated. And there's even a part too where the Maddie character is like, so I moved away, but I still couldn't be myself. I had to figure it out within me, and I couldn't just go somewhere else to fix the problem. Like it just has
Gosh,
all
can we
these
all relate
layers.
to that? So,
I know, that's what like, it really affected me. I felt like I definitely enjoyed it. So I think some people get into it and they take it as like they can't relate to it. But
mm,
I think you could if you try.
or if you just really thought about it.
Yeah, and just all the parts of, just like I said, just the way Justice Smith was portraying disassociation. And
Mhm.
there was even parts too that I thought was so cool, was he would break the fourth wall and talk to the camera. Like it was just such a good movie.
I love a shot like that, and not necessarily where it's like the character is looking like, a like office style where it's like, are you seeing this, like, at the
Yeah.
audience, but where it's just a straight shot, character at the camera, as if they are talking directly to you and you are in the movie with them. Like they are
Yes.
sending the lines straight to you. Like that is so powerful, I think.
I know, and it's like you're an observer, but they want you to be fully immersed. And I feel like
Mhm.
that was one of the reasons why I just felt so immersed in this movie. Next time you come over, we can watch it.
Okay. Yeah, we'll have to
'Cause
plan for that.
yes, because it was good. And we have to watch it in the dark because
Okay,
it
all
was
the lights
beautiful.
off.
I
I
did
want
want to
the
say
full
oh,
immersive
sorry.
experience.
It was, I know, and again, you might not even like it at all, but I freaking loved it. I will say I did watch one of her other movies, this director, and it's called We're All Going to the World's Fair. And this one did not affect me as much, but I
Mm.
know a lot more people like that one, and I get what she's trying to say with it. Just like, so it's like basically the whole, like, I love the way this I don't know if she does all this stuff or they do all this stuff when they're directing movies, but they're kind of commentary on media. And this one
Mm.
was, she was doing one of those move or those like online challenges, where you like flick the light on 5 times.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like she does that, like the main character. And then this guy is watching her and talking to her, and they're just both super lonely people. And it's just like, and they kind of have this relationship, but don't. And I don't, it was interesting. I just was too blown away by, I saw the TV Glow that I
Mm.
wasn't, I wish I would have watched that one first and then the
First.
second one. And I think I would have enjoyed it more, but it just didn't like blow my mind. And it had like a little part with ASMR in it, which I thought the girl was trying to fall asleep and she had ASMR. I was like, that's a great add in
Brings
there.
you into it.
Yeah.
That one's labeled as a horror drama too.
Yeah, it was creepy. Like, I don't know, it's not scary. Those two movies weren't scary in the way you think of like scary, but they were unsettling and kind of like, especially with the World's Fair one, you didn't know where it was gonna go, so that
Well,
made it a little creepy.
I feel like all those types of movies though that have so many layers to them like that where they're trying to like fully tell a story by having all this like I don't know meaning behind everything, but it's like almost a little bit hidden. Like they all kind of have that vibe of just like tension.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's cool. I mean, I did now that you like bring that up, I remember seeing some stuff. I don't know what I had been looking at, but I did see stuff before I saw the TV Glow, but it probably was one of those ones where I'm like, well, I can never see that because it's only going to be,
I know.
limited where it is. So, yeah.
Yeah, we should definitely watch it. It was so good. I need to see it again.
But it's under 2 hours, so it's a pretty quick
It is, yeah.
watch.
It
Yeah,
it was great, but
that's
anyway, I think
awesome.
I just got to play around a Max. So
Yeah,
anyway,
a whole new world has opened up for you
no,
with Max.
I know.
Okay, well, should we get into the movies that we had slated for today?
Sure. Which one would you like to start with?
Um, let's do our space themes first.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's start with Apollo 13.
Okay. So I
Had
actually
you seen this before?
no, I was just about to say
Me
that
either.
I had never seen it. And I did know, like, in general, the story of Apollo
Yeah.
13 because historical, but I didn't know, like, a ton of details or anything like that. I will say, like, I think watching this in 2025, I'm not like full on in conspiracy with Tom Hanks, but I just think that in all the things that Tom Hanks has been in now, he's so recognizable. Like his voice is so
Yes. Oh my, I was
recognizable.
literally thinking that when I'm like, this is Woody. Like,
Yeah. Like it's really hard for me to now see this movie and almost not be taken
that's
out of
Tom
it.
Hanks
Yeah.
acting.
Yeah. Whereas like, I mean, with like Kevin Bacon, like I'm not like, oh, that's Kevin Bacon. Like I can, or Ed Harris, even though he kind of plays a lot of times that like kind of stiff
Yeah,
material kind of role, or militarian, not material. Um, I'm still like, oh, they're acting. This is a new role. But when you hear Tom Hanks's voice, it's like,
I know. It was
oh,
really, I know. I had that thing too. And I almost was like, obviously he's a good actor, but I feel like
mhm,
since this was when he was younger, I was like, I wonder what, because even like looking at him next to, I don't want this to come out wrong, but just like looking at him next to Kevin Bacon, I was just like, I wonder why he became such a leading man.
yeah. I mean, even like, I mean, Forrest Gump, like that role, it's like a good movie and a great story or whatever, but it's not necessarily like, oh God, Tom Hanks, like he didn't even, and then he did those like Sleepless in Seattle. Like I just never would have pegged him as, yeah, like a rom com guy or like you said, the
Yeah,
leading man, but somehow he did get that.
I know, and gets it almost seems like everything he's ever tried to get, he's gotten.
I
Like it
know.
just is that vibe. And like he did, and then I just looked up what the real people looked like. And I'm like, I could tell which character was supposed to be Tom Hanks. And I was like, oh, okay. I mean, he does look similar and have the similar vibe as the actual person. So I was like, okay, that makes sense. But
Okay, but since we're bringing this up, because I thought this same thing, but I was like, I don't know. I don't think that I would necessarily see them side by side and be like, what
right,
amazing casting. So then this kind of brought up what the other news that we forgot to bring up was the Beatles casting was released, where everybody is up in arms about this. And I'm like, are you kidding
nobody
me?
said.
Like, you're literally going to say that, oh, they just literally plucked the top actors off of Instagram. What do you think they did here? They were
I
like,
know they got.
oh, Tom Hanks is huge. Let's have him play
I know
Jim
Kevin
Lavelle.
Bacon, Bill Paxton.
Yes.
Like, let's just throw them all our white guys in here. It's
I
like,
mean, come on. And I didn't look up, I can't remember what Kevin Bacon's character or who he was portraying, but I didn't look up him. But I highly doubt that he looked so much like Kevin Bacon. Like Kevin Bacon has a
right,
very identifiable
double
look.
face.
Like
I
there's
know.
no freaking way. Like I
I
just
know. It's like this has always been a part of Hollywood history. They get who's gonna do the job.
yes,
Close
exactly.
enough.
And with I personally, I don't know if this is going to be very controversial for people who listen to this next statement, but I thought that the casting for the Beatles was actually pretty good. I mean, yeah, you could, like, I saw a TikTok
Like you
comment
could
where it was,
scour the world for
right,
something
that's what I was about to
better.
say. Like, people were like, you could literally go to Liverpool and pluck four guys off the street. Okay, but can they embody these people? Can
Can
they
they
act?
act? Right.
Like that is the whole point. And once you like I believe that these four men are going to really do their character
Yeah.
study and research, and once they get into hair and makeup, they're going to be transformed. Like I don't have a doubt in my mind that
I
that's
know.
going.
I was on board. When I was flicking through that
Oh,
carousel, I was like, oh,
yes.
oh,
I'm
okay,
like,
okay.
makes sense to me.
Sounds good. I'll see you there.
The only thing is just the accents, I think, are a little hard. But I mean,
Yeah.
nowadays, they work with these dialect coaches. If they have to, they'll dub it with AI, like we heard that they did in The Brutalist. Like, I think it'll be fine.
I think it will too. I don't know what everyone's on about.
Me either. But that just made me, it just so happened when we watched, this movie. And even with like the next another movie we're gonna talk about, Dallas Fires with Matthew McConaughey. Looking up pictures of Ron Woodward, right? That was his name,
Yeah.
Ron. They don't look alike. It's like you
Mhm.
choose who's gonna portray
Do
that
the job.
actor the
Who can
best.
embody them?
Yes,
That's why even when I looked up those pictures of the actual Apollo 13 people, I was like, "Oh yeah, I can totally see the vibe. That's
yeah,
Tom Hanks's vibe." It's like it all made sense.
yeah. I will say, like, I do enjoy a movie like this, the just historical. It's felt very real. Like those movies always do very well. Obviously, this is like a typical Oscar movie. I did get emotional at the end, even though I knew that they
I
made it
know.
home.
I know, but it was still like when he was like or what did he say? Signing off or
Yeah,
something. I was like,
yeah. It's just so, tears definitely welled up. And just, I mean, I don't know, I think as just being our age, like we have experienced a few cultural moments as a country where like we've all been together, and I those types of things always make me emotional. And then like seeing this where like everybody was like hoping and praying and wishing that these men were going to make it home, and they're glued to their
I know, and like
television.
I know, like waiting. I was literally my husband was in here when I was watching it, and I literally turned to him. I'm like, nobody cares about this anymore.
Yeah,
Nobody's talking about this moment. Like nobody
yeah.
cares.
Well,
It's just
even
wild.
I know, and just like that was such a feat of just like even I know there's a bunch of conspiracies about like the moon landing and stuff too, which like I don't buy into that because it's just too much for me to even like go there. But it's like these things that science and people's intellect, like it is so above like my level of thinking that people can like how did we even look at the moon at whatever point in
I
time
know.
and say we can
Let's
go
go there.
there? Yeah,
Let's do
like
it.
it's totally outside of my brain capacity.
I
So
know,
then to
like just
watch,
thinking anytime I think about being actually in space looking down at Earth, I could just throw up. Like
I
I can't
know,
even conceptualize seeing that at all.
I
Like it
know,
makes me want to throw up.
I know, and but just to see like in Hidden Figures too, like you see how the technology is so dated because obviously we're in like the 60s and the 70s and whatever. It's like wow, like the fact that we were able to do these things is just unbelievable. And like it's just such a feat of history that like we did it. Like, and that's just the way all the emotion just kind of came up because all these people are like terrified in general that their family members are going to space, and then to have all these things go wrong and all the men that are working for NASA are like biting their fingernails off,
I know.
like working through the night to try and figure out like how to save these guys that are in space, like constructing a weird little vent for the carbon
I
monoxide to be
know.
like that was like what.
I know. Like just these people this is so smart and like just let's try everything at this point because we got to get them there. And the fact that they didn't even get to go to the moon
I
and
know,
they had to just come back. Like
I
that
know. And then
defeat.
Tom Hanks' character Jim, like in the end he's like, I that was my last
I
journey. Like
know.
I never did get to walk on the moon. Like, oh my God. Like, that's just wow.
I know, I loved that end scene too, where they were walking off and then he was like, "Then this happened to this
Yeah,
person and
me
this happened to
too.
that." I was like, "That." And normally I would think that was kinda corny, but I did really like that
Me
instead of
too.
just the text.
Right, because I don't know, it felt like he was just telling the story, like this
I
is
know.
because he had been our, main man through the whole thing. And yeah, I
Uh, oh,
oh, I was just gonna say, like, all the stuff in the spaceship, like, it felt very real too. Like in the next movie we're gonna talk about, Interstellar, even though they were made years apart, decades
right.
apart, and obviously technology has changed so much. I know the stories are completely different, but this movie almost had me more captivated on, like, this is a real experience.
Yes, I also agree, and even when my husband was like, "I wonder how they filmed that," like, when they were, like, floating around and
Yeah.
stuff, I'm like, "I know, that was cool." I agree, I actually well, we could talk about it later. Yeah, no, I definitely felt like I was in the spaceship with them. I could feel the tension. I could feel when it
Mhm.
was getting cold.
Mhm.
It was just really good. The only problem, or not problem, but it did have that very like this was made in because I think it was made in the 90s.
I think it was 90s, yeah.
Um, it had that very formulaic, oh, we have to do the personal life and the giggling and the
Yes.
wiggling with the wife. And
Yeah.
then we go, like, it just had a lot. Like, you could have cut 15 minutes of that beginning thing and the build up of that part. Like, okay, we get he has a family. That was my only, like, okay, like, it was kind of slow start for me, but I
Yeah,
feel like
it
a lot
was.
of those old movies tend to feel that way with me
Uh-huh.
just because everything now is so fast paced and there's not too many things that are that slow moving anymore. But other than
No.
that, I actually really enjoyed the movie.
But I think the just with a lot of the older movies, the slow burn almost, and like how they like I don't know, I think we watch a lot of newer movies now and we're like, wait a second, how did we get here? Hold on a second. Like
Mm,
it sometimes a little bit of the backstory is lost or needed, where in this case it's like we fully did get a picture painted. And I agree, there were even like some of the stuff throughout with the family, it's like, okay, we probably could have cut that, but they were trying
you
to
know,
play on our
so you,
heartstrings.
yeah, and be like, oh, this playing this suspense, like the
Yeah,
family's waiting. I will say too, with it being because I it was over 2 hours, wasn't it?
yeah, it was.
It definitely that was nice for back then too, because, like in the early 90s and before and a little bit after, where you actually got like a good movie theater experience and you were
Hmm.
getting your time and you were getting something that was made thoughtfully. So it
Yeah.
totally
Well, speaking
makes
of
sense.
that, I wanted to bring up how much money this movie made, because it's just we're in a very different time now. So this was 95. This movie um cost, oh, what I screenshot didn't show me how much it cost, but I can look that up. But it made a total worldwide 355.2 million, and it was the third
Adjusted
highest
for
grossing
inflation.
film. Yeah, it was the third highest grossing film of 95. And in its first weekend in the US and Canada, it made over $25 million, which just for that time, I mean, yeah, if we knew how to make that adjustment for how much money, like, that's just insane, Like, we are
I know.
not
That's star
getting
power.
movies
That's why
like
they
that.
hired him. I
Yeah,
know.
we're not getting, and it costs to make, it said, I don't know why there's two numbers here, but so I'm just going to say it's somewhere between 52 and 62 million. So
Nice.
obviously it made a huge profit. but
That's probably not even the home sales.
right. I mean, we just don't you just don't have movies like that that are gonna pull that kind of money. Like, okay, yeah, we have Wicked that obviously made a whole bunch of money, but and Oppenheimer, but like
Spent a whole
this
lot of
was
money.
this was literally a slow burn about a real thing that happened. Like, I'm pretty sure that this was pretty darn close to the real story.
Yeah, and that probably was what drew people in too.
Hmm.
Like I remember when this happened, I want to see the movie about the guys in there.
Right. And I mean, yeah, you've got Tom Hanks, you've got like all these big names, and then Ron Howard was the director. So I mean, it's obviously a pretty big, big, big heavy hitters here. But I was just like, wow, those numbers. And then comparing, because I guess we can just. Do you have anything else to say about Apollo?
No, the only other thing I wanted to say is I just loved the aesthetic of that. Like it just reminds me of going to like Disney World and
Yeah,
the one ride and like just even the way the one guy looked that they kept panning to and I'm like just the way the skin color of the like tanned.
I know. I loved even when they would
Oh,
go to the families. I'm like, look how cute
yes.
everybody
And the
looks.
furniture and
Yeah,
it was just I just loved the way it looked. I loved the way their technology looked. It
yeah,
just was just my eyes loved it.
that time period. So moving on to our other space themed movie, a little more fictional than
Yes.
fact.
Interstellar, starring Matthew McConaughey. I had seen this before, but it hadn't been since shortly after it came out.
I had not seen it. I've seen a
I,
ton of clips, but
yeah, I remember being a little bit more blown away the first time I watched it, or like more like, whoa, what is this concept? I didn't like it as much this time. I understand that it's a very good movie though, but I just didn't like it as much. Obviously, very good performances. I know this is not everyone's take on this movie, but
no, but I kind of agree with you. Like, I enjoyed the movie. I almost like didn't love Matthew McConaughey in it. And not because he was like doing a bad job with acting, especially on some of the emotional parts. Like, he did a very good job, but just like I don't know, it almost felt too Matthew McConaughey. Like it.
yeah, like, or I think the character, I mean, obviously he has to be a part of this really huge, amazing thing, but it also made him come across as very selfish.
Mhm.
Like, I just didn't enjoy his character.
Yeah, and I like Matthew McConaughey. Like, we both really enjoyed his book. Like, I don't have a problem with him. I like him in a lot of other movies that he's done.
Mhm.
But for some reason, this one it almost felt like just at parts it almost felt like a weird satire of himself.
Yeah, I guess I know this is maybe not nice, but I didn't really believe like it's weird because I totally he's doing a good job, but I didn't believe that the story could happen the way it did. Like he's
Yeah,
this farmer that just happens to stumble upon this situation
right.
and then they just are like, "Yeah, we need to use you for this." Like I just couldn't other than which other than needing the daughter, and you have to get there to get the daughter, and all this is predestined, I guess you could say. I don't know. It just that was too unbelievable to me.
Well, and
Even
it
though it's not a even
I
though it's
know
not
it just
realistic.
the whole thing though to me it was kind of just I I don't know if I'm like not smart enough to piece everything together or if I it was just too confusing in general, but I was really trying to follow along, and there were parts where I'm like, hold on a second, what the heck is going on, and when is this supposed to be, and how is this connected? Like, I was very confused at some points.
Yes, I agree. Again, maybe I'm not smart enough, but then also it's not something that we can fully grasp too.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I had to I think I should have sat there and watched it with that lens instead of trying to figure it out, but I
Slash,
couldn't
like,
help
is
it.
it even reality? Like, we don't even
Yeah,
know. I mean, the whole concept of time being relative and all these areas in space that we haven't even like discovered yet or been able to explore. It's like there's so much out there that we have absolutely no idea about. So I think that is kind of what makes it hard to completely understand.
I know. And then they're going to like these other planets
Yeah,
situations. Like, I will say that wave scene
that
on
was
that one.
cool.
Yeah, that was so intense, so cool. That was, I mean, talk about throwing up. That one
I
made me
know, right?
up.
I
I can't even
loved those
imagine.
weird little robot things too.
I know they were so cute.
I know. They
They
were
were like little
weirdly really
friends.
cute. I know.
What did you
Um,
think of Anne Hathaway
I
in
was
this?
literally just about to say Anne Hathaway.
I did not love her in this.
I do have a hard time with Anne Hathaway in general. Like,
See, most things I see her and I enjoy her in. This one, I don't know. Again, it was almost like, it almost felt like Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway were almost casted too perfectly in a generic way. I don't know if that makes sense.
I I didn't really think that she brought anything to the
No, it
role.
was like that was fine. We almost could have had like a no name in there.
Yeah, like she literally
We
could have
did
been
Anne.
anybody. Was this the same time as Les Mis?
Oh, it might have been. Because wasn't
Because
she nominated twice? Or is that a made up thing?
I don't know. Because well, Interstellar came out in 2014. Well, Les Mis was 2012, so not the same year, but
Oh,
the
so they
filming
could have been
would have been
filmed.
pretty
Yeah.
close. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
because
was
she did
just
have the
thinking
shorter
about her.
hair.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, the short hair too. Yeah, I don't know. And I guess her character didn't necessarily, she wasn't meant to like be the star or bring a whole bunch. Like it was mainly like Matthew McConaughey and Bryce Dallas Howard or Jessica Chastain. Those two look so
They
similar.
look alike.
Well, we were just talking about Ron Howard with Apollo 13. Um, so that was, yeah. I guess she wasn't supposed to be like the leading lady here, but I think it could have just been anybody in that
It's
role.
like, yeah, of course Anne Hathaway could do that. Like, there just wasn't. I did think the casting with the little girl from Twilight and Jessica Chastain,
Yes.
really good cast.
I was literally like, who is that girl? Like that I know that face. And then
I
I
know
looked it up, I'm
that
like,
face anywhere.
oh, that face is
You
so
imprinted on my daughter. Anyway, I thought that was a good casting, actually,
I
like
did
for the two
too.
of them.
Yeah, I did too. And then seeing little Timmy Chalamet in there, even
What
though
do you
he
think
was
of the Casey Affleck as older him?
that casting didn't really make a lot of sense to me.
No, it really threw me off. Even though I didn't even remember he was in this movie.
Me either.
Yeah, Casey Affleck. And then I was like, the more they showed him, I was like, I guess I can see it where he was
Just
kind of
put
like the
on some
grumpy son.
weight.
Yeah,
But I think that they probably just got Casey Affleck because Matt Damon was in it.
I know.
And hey,
Which what?
Casey's
Which
good.
that was crazy too. His character comes out of nowhere, and then I was like,
And he was
"Is he?"
evil.
I know. Was he? Because when did he do The Martian?
I know because there's so
I'm like, is this like a
there were too
crossover
many
situation?
space movies that were happening that were like
Oh,
so
epidemic.
similar.
2015.
So again, filming was the same.
I know. It
He
almost seemed like
probably
some kind of like parallel or
he
like they're in the
probably
same
just
world.
he was already in that costume and
They're
he
like,
just
hey, come over here
bounced
for a
over
minute.
to the other set.
He's probably like a producer too or something.
Probably. Yeah,
Anyway.
I thought he was pretty good in it, honestly, like his
No,
character.
yeah, I did enjoy him in there.
I thought John Lithgow did a pretty good job too.
Yeah.
Like even though he was just kind of tossed in there for a little bit at the beginning, like I thought he did a pretty good job. Yeah, it was just I do like the concept of like I already said, the time is relative thing and how okay, we are up here so far in space where 1 hour for us is 7 years back home. Like that is such an interesting
I
concept.
know. I know, and it's like you almost can't wrap your head around it because of the way we just have our universal time
Yeah,
now. Or even if you think just like on a different part of the earth, it's a different time right now
I
in the time
know.
zone. And it's just, it's wild to think about. And yeah, I agree. I feel like that movie's concept was really cool. And just even the parts where like, it's so crazy. Anything that's like that, where it's like, this had to happen to lead to this. Like, you were
Mhm,
always going to get on this um, always be a part of this mission to get to this point so your daughter could do this and it was
mhm.
always going to happen like that, but then the whole time he's like, tell me not to go, but it's
Yeah,
like
I know.
you had to go
Right.
because this is how it all had to happen.
That
It's
was
so wild.
that was the part where it really lost me though, because when
No,
he's
yeah, it's like
in
I don't think like that part where he's behind the bookcase.
yes, and he's in like so he lets Anne Hathaway go back to wherever she was going because I don't even know how she ended up on that new planet and how
I know,
she
I
hadn't
felt like I
aged
missed
at
that part
all.
too.
Yeah, that was really but and then he kind of winds up in that weird memory place kind of
Mhm.
but then and he kept saying they they wanted it. This is how they organize. I'm like, who is the they we're talking about? Aliens?
I know, like
Like,
right, it's like the conspiracy of it.
yeah. Like I
They
was so
sacrificed
confused
us.
by that. And then that was also like the whole thing I could totally get into it as like, okay, this could be real. And then there it totally lost me
I
as
know, like I get what it was trying to do, but I don't know why he kept begging not to go. Other than obviously like he missed
his kids and stuff.
his kids, but I don't know. It was yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, I mean
I did.
I think
I
if I have to rank the two, I would say I enjoyed Dallas. I mean,
well
I
that
enjoyed,
too. Apollo
I
13.
enjoyed Apollo 13 more than Interstellar.
I agree, especially as far as a space movie. I like that Apollo 13 was a little more straightforward. I don't mind when a movie's like a little mind bending, but this one just didn't work in the way like Inception works for me.
Right. And I mean, this is just totally what, Christopher Nolan does. Like, I don't even know how he keeps everything straight in his own head. Like, truly, I don't understand it.
I know.
But I mean,
I
that's,
did like the scene it was really emotional where he's like in this new strange circle world, sphere world,
oh yeah,
and and he sees his daughter.
at the
I
end
like,
there,
yeah, when
yeah,
she was old, I was
that was
like, oh,
that was
he
cute.
gets to like say goodbye. Because even that's wild too, because it's like nobody really gets to see their kids old and
Yeah,
like all their grandkids, and that was
he
just
looked
kind
the
of like
same.
yeah, it was just kind of a sweet little thing. But then of course he's gonna go back and have a romance with Anne Hathaway. I didn't love that.
Me
That
either.
was
I thought that was just
I was like,
pointless.
fine. I mean, I guess at this point you're all each other has,
Yeah,
so
everybody else. I mean,
no choice.
the
But then
whole
it's like
room full of family you had, I suppose, doesn't even know who you are.
you
So,
are, you're just a stranger. But I wonder if then do you have more kids after your kids pass away? Like that's
and
great.
what was the time in this new planet that they're on? Like, does
Yeah,
time move slower? Like, I didn't understand that either. But
me either.
since I brought up the box office numbers from the last one, I wanted to screenshot these too. So this was a 2014 movie, and it grossed 758.46 million worldwide. It had a budget of 165 million, and the opening weekend in the US and Canada, it actually had like kind of small numbers for, well, relatively, was 47.5 million.
Hmm,
So kind of interesting how it ended up getting,
doing pretty well.
yeah, but internationally was where this movie made the most money. It made 555 million abroad.
Nice.
So it was like a huge hit there, which in the US it wasn't as big, which is just interesting. You wonder why, that kind of movie is a big hit internationally.
Yeah, that is interesting. I mean, I definitely think this movie would have been really cool in the movie theater, especially with like the
Totally.
dust storms, and maybe once people heard more about that, they wanted to go
Well,
see
in the
it.
wave thing, that would have been awesome.
That would, and just even in space in general, that would have been. That's definitely. I think I would have definitely enjoyed this in
Me
theaters.
too. They had it in IMAX too. That would have been
Oh, see,
unbelievable.
that would have been awesome.
Oh, this is interesting. This says a re-release in 2024 boosted the film's domestic gross to over 200 million. So originally, domestically, it didn't even hit $200 million.
That
So
is interesting because I feel like people talk about this movie all
I
the time and how
know,
amazing it is.
but that must be why it had a re-release recently, and why like
Mhm.
I have seen so many clips online.
Yeah, people like reappreciating it.
Yeah, so it wasn't a bad movie by any
No,
means.
I can acknowledge that it's a good movie. I just didn't love it.
Yeah, me either. I probably wouldn't rewatch unless somebody I was with really wanted to see it or something, but I
Yeah,
wouldn't turn it on myself.
no, too
So that
long.
was it. Yeah, that one was well over
Like
2 hours.
3 hours
Yeah.
almost, I think.
So this brings us to our final film that we had slated for this week, which was we had the space theme. It was like a space and Matthew McConaughey
McConaughey. I know. They all just
because
flow together.
yeah, the last one is Dallas Buyers Club, and we were both saying before we started recording that we both saw this around the time it came out. I did not go to theaters to see it. I think this
No,
was
I
a
definitely it was a rent.
movie. And it came out in 2013. And upon rewatch, there were just some things that I had forgotten. Like, I do really enjoy this film. This is where, like, Matthew McConaughey is so good in this.
I know he truly is so. This is where it's like it feels like him, but I know he's not this person in real life, but he's portraying it so well.
Yeah. I mean, and like not even speaking on like the weight loss, like it's so unbelievably transformative. But he just does such a good job with this character. And I know that the movie in general, it's like so loosely based off of the true story of Ron Woodward, but there are quite a few things within it that creative liberties were taken to make it more of a, entertaining film. I thought that Jennifer Gardner was good in this.
I
And
forgot she was in it.
yeah, I actually, which this is kind of dumb to say, but I forgot Jared Leto was in
So
it.
did I. And then when Rayon popped up, I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
because he was nominated, right, for
I
supporting. Did
think
he
he might
win?
have won. I think he did, but I could be wrong. But I thought he was up there giving a
I thought he
I like
won.
remember him giving an acceptance speech.
Matthew McConaughey won
Yes,
for
see
Best
that.
Actor. Yep, he did. He got Best Supporting Actor.
He did you know what's so interesting about that is you could never hire him like a straight
Now,
white male for this. But in my opinion, he was so captivating on screen.
oh, 100% agree. He like this was, and I don't know, like I am not a huge fan of Jared Leto, like just in general. Like I haven't watched everything that he's done or whatever, but this was the role where I remember him being fully on the map. Like, whoa, Jared Leto, like look at what
Was
he's doing.
transformed.
Yeah.
And I remember Matthew McConaughey being like, "Oh, I never met Jared Leto. I only met Rayon."
Because Jared Leto is such a method
But
actor.
that which works and doesn't.
Yeah, I know.
He their chemistry though, for them not really like meeting each other was so good. Like they were such a good duo on screen together. All their scenes together were just so amazing.
I know. And the fact that like they were two completely opposite people of like such a
Yes.
straight white man who's in the freaking like rodeo business, everything manly that you could possibly do, he's doing. And then there's this, trans woman who is just never somebody that this man would have been friendly with ever before. But
I
like
know.
their common illness just brought them together, and they actually ended up gaining
Caring for
respect
each
for
other.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that they chose to turn this type of story into a movie, just like the whole stereotype against like the AIDS and
Yeah.
HIV epidemic and making it like this is a straight man who gets it. Like he's breaking
Hmm.
these stereotypes that are usually associated with that illness.
Well, and just like, and we, we're not even close to being alive at this time period. We were born much, much later. But
Way
yeah,
many, many years.
way later. But the, what was perpetuated was totally what Matthew McConaughey's character is saying. Like that
Yeah,
was
he's like, that can't be
out
me.
there.
I can't have this because I'm not that way.
Yeah, like it was totally like, oh no, this is, I mean, even I think like, yeah, people who were, drug users and sharing needles and stuff, but I think the major thing was, oh, it's because you're gay. Like
Yeah,
that was totally the narrative that they put out there, and the scare tactics. And obviously, unfortunately, like a lot of gay men like were the main ones that were getting this illness and stuff, but it was never even put out there to the public that no, this can happen from unprotected sex, even if you are a straight man or woman. Like it
Yeah,
can.
if you're still partaking in that behavior and not protecting yourself, and the that you can still contract it, and that it's crazy too how much of a death sentence this
Oh my
illness was,
God. I know.
which is just terrifying.
I know this will, I mean, it makes me so emotional. Like, and this is where, I don't, not to be controversial here, but like when people say stuff about like the unknowns of medications or whatever, it's like, yeah, I know, but like, look at what it can do. Like, look how
Right,
we have made it so that people who have HIV can live healthy lives for so much longer than they ever were
right.
able to before. And like, yeah, on in Dallas Fires, like they show how unfortunate these clinical trials can be and stuff, and how unfair they can be at times and whatever. But like, they're that way for a reason because we end up getting drugs that actually work.
I know.
This just made me think of when I watched that series on Netflix, Apple Cider Vinegar, and how it was so focused on eating clean and doing these cleanses and all these all natural remedies. And then that was also shown with Matthew McConaughey's character in Dallas Buyers Club. But like, okay, that can help for, you know, a certain amount of time, but it doesn't necessarily cure anything.
I know. And then when they're, I think it was at the end, they were like the low dose of what they were giving. The patients actually ended up helping them.
Yeah. Which
So
I
yeah,
guess with because the overall like health story of the Ron Woodward character, like, or Ron Woodward as a person, he did end up getting like multiple years when they told him he only
mhm,
had 30 days or, you know, whatever
yeah,
they originally told the actual person. I don't know if they told him 30 days, but like he got way much more time than what they originally said. So I suppose for the time, he
right.
did get a lot more.
It is interesting too, just like thinking about this movie about if you were given like a death sentence like that, do you want to take your health into your own hands? Or even if you don't get like a death sentence like that, if you just want to take your health into your own hands, or do you want to follow the medical advice? And I think a lot of people really go back and forth with that, even for minor things.
Totally, because again, in Apple Cider Vinegar, the one girl who, like, all the characters were kind of based on real people, and then some things were changed, but she, they wanted to amputate her like arm, like take it off, I think at the elbow. And if they had done that, they would have been able to fully remove the cancer, and then she could have, you know, lived a life. And even if they took it off at the shoulder, it's like, okay, well, with prosthetics and blah, 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 blah. But she was like in her 20s, and she's like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to look at other options. And so that's how she ended up, yeah, taking things in her own hands and going against medical advice. And she did end up gaining years, but in the end, the cancer spread throughout her body and she ended up dying. So it's like, I guess you never know what you don't know, but if you would have just gone with what medicine
Right.
was saying, could it have helped you completely in the long run?
I know, and it just makes you wonder too. It's and like everybody is different and different things work for different people. And it's just it really is scary because your average person isn't fully educated in medical things like that anyway. So it's like, what do you do? There's just so many different stories like that where So I was like, well, then I tried this and then a miracle happened. And then I had
Mhm.
a alkaline diet. And,
Right.
it's just so interesting. Or even when people are like, I went vegan and I almost died. And then some people are like, I went vegan and I've never been
Yeah.
better.
Yeah. I know, and I think when people and yeah, it doesn't have to be like a death sentence, but anything that kind of like shakes them enough having to do with their health, they look up all kinds of things. They're looking up medical trials. They're looking up what they're doing in different countries, which we see that in Dallas Buyers Club. He's like scouring through all these
The
articles and
world.
books and everything. Yeah, and going all over the world. And it's just like you literally will do anything and you get a small glimmer of hope and you hang on to it, even if it's like, well, okay, that isn't a viable option because of XYZ, but because you're so focused on, no, I need to like live, I need to fix this. You
Hmm.
want to just hang on.
I know. It was interesting. And then even when he's in the courtroom too, and he's like, you guys don't care about us. You just want to make the money, basically. And then you have to, like, when you're talking about big pharma, and then it's
I
like,
know,
well, that is a big conversation that happens too. And then it makes you not want to trust the medical and the
I
pharmaceutical
know.
companies. And it's just so, it's such
It's a
a,
layered thing too, it really is.
yeah,
Because there are, I mean, just like anything else, there are people out there that aren't like good doctors. There's people that aren't good lawyers and good whatever. And
mhm,
it's just like there are doctors that are just trying to push medicine. I mean, we saw that with like Purdue Pharma with like in Dope Sick and all the other um movies and shows and documentaries that are about the oxy. It's like they were basically buying off doctors to push this drug that was prescribed to so many people that shouldn't have ever had it, and then they knew they were going to be addicted to it. Like that's so wrong. Or with the
right.
medical trials, it's like you know that this is a gamble and you are playing with people's lives, but there's a
There's no
reason.
other way to,
Yeah,
right. You like have to do that. And I know it's just wild, and it's just interesting to kind of see that like commentary play out in this movie.
yeah. I the acting in it was very good. I mean, I think the lifestyle of Matthew McConaughey's character in this film is something that is so far beyond anything that I am personally exposed to. That I think they do a really good job of setting that scene, and you really get inside the life of that character.
I know, just like the drugs and the
Hmm.
partying and the sex, it is wild. And then just to have all his like friends are all that big macho man type thing. And
Yeah,
then when they find out about his illness, and then they just start to treat him
yeah,
differently. And then
it's turned.
he's like, I'm gonna, and then when he likes just all those old stereotypes of HIV and AIDS, like he's like, tries to spit on them, and then,
Hmm.
like
They're
it's
like, "Give
gonna
me a
spread.
towel. I gotta wash my hand." Like, yeah, okay.
Hmm.
I know what it. I mean, that's when you just think, just in our history too, like what advancements. Like it's just so hard to conceptualize it that like we not that we have completely cured HIV or AIDS or whatever, but like we've come so far and even the stigma around it has changed so much, and now we actually have medication that you can take to that's fully preventative so that you
Right.
if you are exposed to that it will protect you. Like that's amazing.
I know we've really, and even those old stereotypes and stuff weren't even that long ago, and
I know.
how much work we've done since then.
I know. It's really only been a handful of decades where like that mindset
It went
was.
from this to that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I this movie was good. I mean, in my opinion, it still totally holds up. Like I think
Yeah,
that
I
could have.
still
I'm besides what you said about how the casting would have been
never
different,
happened.
there's no way they would have ever cast Jared Leto today. I think this movie seems like something that could have been made last year. Like it really,
Yeah,
it's still good. It would be a story that I think would be compelling if it came out tomorrow.
I agree. But the great debate, should he have won over Leonardo DiCaprio in Wolf of Wall Street?
That's her. It's just so hard because
I know
like
it's like
they're
comparing
so
apples to
different
oranges.
movies.
I know. But still feel like people talk about that still, like, should he have won or Leo should have won for that?
I mean, Leo did such a great job, but the fact that Leo didn't win until The Revenant, like
Which was
he,
like the mercy give. Not that he didn't do good in that, but it was like, yeah, well, let's give it.
I know, like I don't know how many ways did we need to see Leo transform before we just gave it?
Gotta get in a dead horse.
I know.
We finally let
He had
him and
to
eat
be
raw whatever.
I know he had to be mauled by a bear like
We
twice.
finally get it.
Yeah, but I don't know. I think it was deserved by Matthew McConaughey for this
I know,
film.
I watching it this time, I mean, it would have been fun to watch Wolf of Wall Street and then
Back to
this and
back.
maybe compared. It is, I think he should have won. I think that was a really beautiful performance, but
Mhm.
I don't know. That is so tricky. Even when we were talking about Honora this year and Demi Moore, it was like, but both were, or not Honora, Mikey Madison versus Demi Moore, and it was, I don't know. It's like, what are we comparing
I
here?
know. I know. I don't know. I mean, when you think about the voting too, it's not like, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong on this one. We're not voters in these awards categories, but it's not like
Yeah,
they, yeah, yet. We will be someday. But they don't, to my knowledge, they don't give out like, okay, here's the criteria. You have to rank these people from 1 to 5 in each of these boxes, and whoever has the highest, that's who should be your number one pick. Like, it's literally like, who do you think did the best? Put your top.
right.
It's not like it's so personal. Like the choices are so personal, and yeah, you should be able to step back and take your personal feelings out of it, but or just like if we're talking about the substance versus Honora, there's probably way more people that were like, well, I liked Honora more than I liked the substance, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna
like the
go with
substance
that.
made me uncomfortable or
Yeah,
well, and I think too, like with Matthew McConaughey's performance in this, if I was very moved. Like there was so many
yeah.
moving scenes where he was crying in his car and just feeling helpless and then still persevering. But I can also be moved by a performance that isn't super emotional too. Like so it's
I know.
kind
And when you watch Wolf of Wall Street, like that movie was so entertaining and
of mhm.
fun, and like the story of Jordan Belfort in general is such a tantalizing one.
Right.
And like you feel like, oh, this wasn't uh Leonardo DiCaprio's life. Like it really
Right.
feels like he was Jordan Belfort. Like he
I
fully
know
embodied.
that
So
character.
yeah,
It's
I don't
interesting.
know. I still, if I
Still
had
up for
to choose,
debate.
yeah, I think there's valid points on both sides, but if I had to choose right now, I think I would say Matthew McConaughey um,
So would
was,
I.
yeah, should have gotten it, and he did. So,
Hmm.
so if you had to rank these movies, we've already said that we would put Interstellar at number 3, and then Apollo 13. But would you say Dallas Fires is above Apollo 13?
I would say just for my personal taste, I would put Dallas Buyers Club.
I would agree with you because Dallas Buyers Club is one that I would watch again quicker than I
Yeah,
would watch Apollo 13.
I know. Even though I enjoyed Apollo 13 and I
Mhm.
thought it was good, this movie, I don't know, it makes me feel something.
Yeah, and there's so like I think the fact that it is based on, real events and a real person, but there's more things added in that make it just more cinematic and emotional and
Yeah,
interesting versus like Apollo 13. I think that that is way more, this was the story, and
yeah.
it's still very compelling, but I think that for me is just what made Dallas Buyers Club something that I would be more likely to rewatch um, again because I've already
Yeah,
rewatched
like I
it.
don't really have any complaints about it. Like I feel like the length is okay for
Mhm,
the pacing and everything,
mhm.
so
It keeps me engaged.
it does.
Yeah. So 1, 2, 3, Dallas Fires, Apollo 13, and Interstellar. Not that those are movies that would be in the same category per
No.
se.
If I had to pick,
That's what I would say. Yep. Oh, good. We're on the same page.
I know. I know sometimes when I watch some of those older, like really regarded movies, or even just a really regarded movie in general, and I don't love it, I'm always like,
I'm embarrassed, kind of.
I
So,
know. I'm like,
like,
why
I
do
don't
I
even
like
want
this?
to say.
But if you get on Letterboxd, you can find all kinds of bad reviews about stuff, so then I don't feel as bad, I guess.
Yeah. Before we head out, I wanted to say I randomly this morning did a deep dive on Philip Seymour Hoffman, and I'm not really sure how I got. Oh, I do know because I was looking at the Cinematrix for today, and he was one of the actors that was on there. So I was thinking about the movies that he had been in, and then I went into a dive about his death, his untimely death.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my gosh, it was in 2014. I feels
Yes,
like it was just yesterday.
I know. I mean, literally, which I guess it kind of ties in a little bit better than anticipated because it was kind of around some of these movies that came out. But yeah, I was just like, oh my God. Like, I guess at the time it was very shocking that he passed, especially since they were filming Hunger Games, and that was such a big movie that, everybody our age I think was enthralled with. But I didn't really know all the details surrounding his death, and some of them were just so heartbreaking. Like, I don't know if you ever looked into that or read up on it, or do you remember at the time?
Not really.
Well, this is a little bit graphic, so I'm not going to go into the whole thing for fear of us losing anybody, which, I guess the 5 people who listen we lose, but he, I guess he had struggled with drug use and just addiction when he was like in college and stuff. And then after he graduated, he went into rehab. He went 23 years being sober. And then he had a relapse with heroin. Apparently it was um, prescribed pain medications were a gateway for them, which is just so sad. And he basically, I guess, like the month before he passed, he was out at Sundance, and there were reports where people were saying that he like didn't really seem that great. He seemed more disheveled than usual. He had been seen out. Where was it? Atlanta, I think I can't remember why he was there. Like right before he died, and he was like really not doing well, like drinking at a bar, needed to be helped off the plane, and like it was really bad. And I guess he had like taken out a bunch of cash from an ATM that was near his West Village apartment right before he passed, and he had bought like a ton of drugs, and they were all found, like heroin, and they were all found in this apartment. And he had moved out from the apartment that he had shared with his partner and 3 kids because of his relapse. I mean, and the reason why he was found was because he didn't come at the scheduled time to pick up the kids from his partner. And then she called like his friend or assistant, and then the two of them came to his apartment and found him. And I was just like, oh my God, like you can
How old
easily look
was
it
he?
up and read everything. I think he was only like 46.
Mhm.
Like it, and it just made me, which again, I wasn't the biggest Philip Seymour Hoffman fan in the entire world, but it just made me really think about how somebody can be struggling that deeply with addiction, and you
Right,
might not even know at all.
right,
Like that is just like, holy cow. Like, and he always, I mean, in on red carpets and whatever, he always did seem like a little bit unkempt, like I think that
right.
was the way that he was. But to be addicted to a drug that dangerous and that just severe, it, I mean, it kind of shocked me.
I know, and that's and I know this was in 2014, but just the drugs now are even more deadly. Like there's all kinds of different things in them. And
Yeah.
it's like just one part of you could already pass away anyway from it when you have an addiction, but now it's like all it takes is one time and you're gone.
Seriously, I know.
That's kind of
So,
weird. Oh, sorry. I
oh
was just
no,
gonna
go
say, I
ahead.
was randomly watching, like, this video came up and it was old clips from the show Cops. And there was a part where the officer just picked up drugs that fell out of somebody's thing. And I'm like, without gloves on or anything, which you probably shouldn't have been doing anyway. But now, if you do that, you'd probably literally die.
Yeah, like you have to be so careful
So careful.
nowadays.
Like, it's life or death now.
Mhm. I know. Yeah, so crazy just how things have changed like that and become so much more dangerous than they already were. But
Mhm.
his son, I think his name is Connor, he is getting into acting. And he, I'm going to look this up because I don't want to.
Is it Connor Seymour Hoffman?
Oh, no, it's literally not even Connor. I think I just made that up. It was Cooper.
Cooper Seymour
Close.
Hoffman.
That was close. Cooper. And he was in the Saturday Night movie, which I'll tell
Oh,
you what character he was because you saw it, so you
I
would
did.
might recall. He was
Oh yeah, I
well,
did see him.
Dick
Oh gosh, he looks
Ebersole.
like his
I don't know who
dad.
he was. Oh yeah, he does look so much like him. Now that you know.
Yeah.
And he was also in that Licorice Pizza.
Oh.
which that's on Tubi for free, so that might be something worth checking out. Oh, this was the movie that I was mentioning at the beginning that Ethan Hawke directed and stuff. Wildcat. He
Mm.
was also in it. So this movie was filled with nepo babies because it had Maya Hawke and Levon Hawke. It had Cooper Huffman in it and other people, but that's the other place where I saw him. So I don't know how good he is as an actor, but he's doing some stuff.
I don't mind an acting Nepo baby. They're
Me
doing pretty
either.
good lately.
Listen, I know that they get a lot of crap, but if they can do a good job, it doesn't bother me. If they're
If I've
horrible,
never heard of you before and then you show up in a movie and I'm like, oh, you're that person's kid? You're doing a good job.
but if I can tell that the only reason why you got the role is
Yeah.
because you are the child of so and so, then the nepotism annoys me.
Or if you're complaining about your
Yeah,
nepotism,
it's like get out of here.
bye.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. You have no idea the life that us normies live.
Is that right?
But anyway, it was also just to say it was fun is the complete wrong word, but nostalgic in a way because when I was reading through these articles about his passing, there were all these pictures of the time and it was of like people who had come to the house, like the apartment, to bring stuff to the kids and to be with his partner. And I'm like, oh my god, like Justin Thoreau stopped by and Kate Blanchett. I'm like, this is crazy. Like the people that we were getting pap pics of these people coming in. Like you just wouldn't see that now.
So invasive. My
I know,
God.
like it really was so invasive, but now, like to see it, it really, I know it's not like nice, but it's just kind of like it makes it more just human, his
Yeah.
passing, and you're like, oh God, like what a loss, like how he really did touch so many people, and then reading how many people were at the like celebrities were at the funeral and stuff, you're like, God, he worked with so many and he impacted so many. Like, what a horrible loss for the industry.
Mhm.
Did you ever see that movie, The Master, that he was in?
I only saw part of it.
It was a weird one.
Yeah,
It's
I remember. I don't
definitely.
even remember why I only saw part of it, but I only saw part of it.
I would actually, I don't even know what that's on. I'm gonna look that up. Oh, it's on Peacock, and Tubi randomly. I would rewatch that because I felt like the first time when I watched it, I was kind of only like half in it and really,
Yeah, maybe couldn't appreciate it at the time.
yeah, there was just a lot going on too. But anyway, that was just random. My random deep dive this morning.
Yes.
All right. Well, as we have said, we are our goal is hopefully this month we can kind of bring our surprise to light with some of the changes that we want to make with the pod. So hopefully by the before summer, I'll say to give us a larger window, we can have that hammered out and we can officially make those changes. But you probably already noticed a little bit of it with how our episodes have been lately.
Yes.
So hopefully you like that because this is the direction we're going. So, but if you did listen and you do like it, please make sure that you tell your friends and give us a nice rating and review if you have a few seconds. That would just really mean a lot to us to see those. And yeah, let us know what you guys thought of these movies for sure. And thank you for listening. We will see you next week.